Are you ready to take your investment game to the next level? Introducing Digital Investor, your ultimate guide to mastering the digital marketplace. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Digital Investor brings you cutting-edge game theoretical strategies, expert insights, and real-time tips and tactics to analyze, evaluate, invest, and grow your wealth. Don't miss out on the digital revolution. Visit www.nickblacknext.com and start your journey with Digital Investor today.
All right. Let's see. All right. Okay, I think we got everybody covered. Hello. All right. Cool, man. Cool, bro. Okay, so what's going on? We know markets are going kind of nuts. Yesterday, I think many of you were in at least near you. Well, whether you were in all-time high territory or not, your accounts are probably doing pretty good. And if not, you probably made up a lot of ground. So this is where you can tell if you were properly diversified or you were maybe too narrow in your view in some assets. I guess I'm curious, what is the average number of assets people in here hold? So just say, 5, 7, 10, 13, 264, whatever. How many assets are in your portfolio? Joseph, what up? ¿Qué onda? ¿Qué estás haciendo? Hello. All right. 20. Jesus, Frank. 45. Paul, what the hell? There's no filter on Paul will buy any. Paul, listen. I'm going to make 17 coins today. I'm just for you. You can buy them. 5. I did a 7X on 15 assets. Ooh, that's pretty good. 10, 20, 35. That's up there. But again, most of you probably, those of you with a lot of assets have probably been in the space for a long time. And maybe you're like me in that, Gio, what up? You may be like me in that whenever something is not really performing, you just leave it. It's like, what's the point of selling it sometimes? And the old mentality of like, always sell it, just get rid of the losers and all that. To an extent, but I don't ever sell all of anything, ever. No matter what, no matter how bad you hate something, don't sell all of it. Don't sell all of it. Because you never know. Howard doesn't sell. Howard doesn't take profit. So since Howard doesn't ever take profit, he's got 48 assets. All right. So make sure you guys are taking some profit every now and then. Make sure you're sticking whatever rules you have. Stick to them. Stick to some set of rules, some set of exit rules. My rules here. I'll go over my rules one time for those of you that might be lately to the crypto space. My rule is, first of all, you should be dollar cost averaging in and out of everything, spreading your investment over a long period of time, and investing on intervals that are randomized. I like the every 5 days approach. because you're going to get a different day each week. It's never going to be the same. I mean, it's going to be the same one, but it's going to be after many because it's odd. So it's, yeah, you get it. All right. So I like to go every 5 days, but whatever. But be consistent about that. A lot of people are asking right now, oh, should I buy Bitcoin? Should I buy Bitcoin? Well, you don't want to be a dick and say you should have been buying Bitcoin for the last, X amount of years, but people come to this space whenever they come to it, and that's fine. A lot of people are coming to it because they're seeing other people make money. And so there's a lot of dumb money chasing crypto, but dumb money becomes educated money after a while, right? People that don't know anything, sometimes they get involved in something and then they think, well, maybe I want to learn about this. We were all in the very beginning dumb money in crypto. Everybody was dumb money because no one knew it. No one knew crypto. Not even the guys that created the team that created Bitcoin, spit out the white paper, became Satoshi, and showered the earth with currency units. They didn't know what they were. They didn't know what the effect was going to be. And the proof is in the pudding. If you go read the Bitcoin white paper, it's a peer-to-peer payment system. I don't think they ever intended it to be an investment asset. It is, just so you guys are all clear, it is not a peer-to-peer payment system. This is clear. This is an investment asset, pure and simple. Bitcoin, which is fine. Having a nice store of value that's a hedge against stupidity is very valuable. But let's be honest about what it is and what it ain't. You and I aren't going. If I go out and have coffee today, I'm not swiping at the register with Bitcoin. Who knows? A year from now, maybe that changes, but not right now. People aren't spending, and also people aren't spending. I forget the name of the theory, but essentially there's a money theory that says that good money will stay on the sidelines and be hoarded, and bad money will get spent. Now, at the time of the transaction, it's the same thing. Meaning, the way to think of that is, let's say you had 10 ounces of gold in your pocket, and you were going to buy something that cost the same as something that was $25,000. And instead, you went to your bank and got $25,000 rather than using your gold coins, because you believe that those gold coins are going to be worth more. So you spend the bad money and you hoard the good money. Does that make sense? Minus any opportunity costs and frustrations and gateway fees of actually taking your coins, turning them to cash, and there might be some headache with that too. But that's not really what I'm referring to. It's that good money tends to get hoarded. Grisham's Law. Yes. Craig with the win. So there you go. And it makes sense, right? There you go. 49 coins. Coinbase. Oh, yeah. Coinbase Earn is great because you can get free stuff. Anybody that's not done, even if you guys are experienced, if you guys haven't gone to Coinbase Earn and just done all of those things and gotten all the free tokens, why would you not? Why would you not? Okay, you keep getting a black box. Remember, you guys can also go to my website. If the first part of the video is getting sketch or whatever, you can always just go. If you go Nick Black Live on YouTube, you can also access it there. I don't know what's going on behind the interwebs. I don't have control over such things. Okay, let me see. Question: do you think XRP will be worth more than Bitcoin in the long run? You mean total market cap? I don't think so, but the people at Ripple made 100 billion tokens. They originally set out to do some cool stuff. I was a big supporter of Ripple. I never liked Brad Garlinghouse. I always thought he was a creep. There's just something about him that's really slimy. And Chris Larson, I actually thought Chris Larson was pretty cool. I've since learned that they're both crooks. But before that, I liked, it was one of my first things. I bought, my first 4 assets were Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. Oh, well, it's 5 of them. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, which stupid Litecoin is junk. At that time, it was called Ripple. Before it was kind of branded XRP, it was called Ripple. And so XRP and XLM, lumens, stellar lumens. So, which is a derivative. One is a derivative of the other. Started by Jed McCaleb, who coincidentally was the one that started was the owner of MT Gox, who sold it to Mark Karpelès, who immediately got hacked. So anyway, you look at kind of like that whole thing. Jed McCaleb is kind of this unsung, no one really talks about him that much. That dude's responsible for more money in crypto than anybody else on earth that I can think of. But regardless, so that was one of my first investments. I did really good on XRP. I got it at less than a half penny, and I think I wrote it. I think I exited like, I don't remember, $1.20 or something. I was like, I'm out. So I did real good on XRP. So I'm not an XRP, the token hater, but that team is scummy. So the problem is, it's not poised to be the chosen anything of ISO 20022. It's not a standard for anything. There's a bunch of tokens that fall within this standard, this kind of bureaucratically formed standard for banking, derivatives, and all that. And also, every fucking token on the market can do what Ripple does, what XRP does, what XLM does. Every token, every layer 2 can do it faster and cheaper than XRP. Every single one, like all of them. XLM might be better than XRP. David Schwartz is not much of an engineer, as it turns out. Their network is not disintermediated or what you would call decentralized, even in the least. It's 7 or 8 dudes that are all buddies that are like, oh yeah, it's decentralized. Not any one of us can be the main block promoter. Like, come on, bro. Like, get the fuck off the gas. So there's, on its surface, the argument for dummies. I mean, I say dummies, I mean people that are new to the space is, the Great Reset. That's been the argument for years. It's a bad argument. If you were going to do something like that, you wouldn't use Ripple. They're in court. They got found guilty of violating security statutes, and they're in trouble for it. They're still in trouble. That doesn't go away when Gensler goes away. They're still in trouble. They still have a fine. Luckily, while all these morons have been buying up XRP, Ripple, the company, has been selling a fucking dump truck. Go look at the whale alert. See how much XRP has been transferred from Ripple out. Those dudes are laughing in your faces. Anyway, that's not part of your question. Your question is, in the question, you say that it poised to be the chosen crypto. There's not going to be a chosen crypto at all, because that doesn't make sense. Think about it. There's not really even a chosen currency. Every country in the world dabbles in a variety of currencies, baskets of currencies. The dollar, the Dixie, is not just the dollar. The XY is a bunch of currencies in a basket. And so currencies, the more elegant FX markets get, the more elegant banking and derivatives get, the more they'll be able to pivot to any asset, and they'll always use the cheapest, safest rail. XRP may sometimes be that, could be. XLM could be. In some cases, Bitcoin might be, or Optimism, or go down the list of the other 57,000 assets. They all do the same shit now because everybody's using everybody else's code. There's nothing unique. There's nothing new. No one's breaking the sound barrier in distributed systems. Nobody. Everybody's using everybody else's shit and tweaking one thing. Oh, I used a comma there. They don't use a comma. Therefore, this is a new blockchain. So layer 1. But it's the same thing as they did, but a comma. Yes, but we have a comma and they don't have a comma. Oh, wow. That's pretty new and intense. So in the future, it's going to look, I think what Uniswap is doing, multi-chain, without you having to mess with it. That's what the future of banking and derivatives and all that is. So I would just urge caution. I would urge caution. If you're a banker and you're part of a big banking organization, are you going to honestly go do business with Ripple right now? The same Ripple, by the way, who dumped tons of money into the Kamala campaign and basically shunned Trump. That same Ripple. You're going to go partner up with them. The same Ripple that still owes between $125 and $1 billion in fines for violating securities laws. That's still yet unresolved. The same Ripple that their two head executives sold at a discount their personal tokens, which they shouldn't have had in the first place, their personal tokens to institutional investors at up to a 30% discount with no lockups. You're going to go do business with those motherfuckers when there's 50,000 other layer ones and layer twos that you can do business with that are as good or better? Doesn't make any sense. Ricardo, doesn't make sense, buddy. So, and I'm not a hater. I made a lot of money on XRP. So I'm not a hater. I hope that every person in crypto makes money. I want everybody to make money because it's not zero sum. It's not like, oh man, if you made money, I don't get money. It's not like that. We can all win. That's the beauty of a growing digital economy with these digital assets that people are clamoring to buy. We all get to win. Every single person here gets to win. So I'm not saying, but if you're on the outside of all this, and that's another thing, if you're on the outside of all this, do you really want to go deal with a bunch of dudes that by scammy means made themselves billionaires and now they're coming into your office and looking around and like, ugh, like rolling their eyes at your office furniture? You want to do business with those dickheads? Come on, man. So when there are so many alternatives. Now, the argument would have been different in 2017 because Ripple and XLM, they were the best for moving money because they were so fast and so cheap. They were really good for moving money. They're nothing special now. You can basically do free transactions on a base network. Free. I mean, what's that? And that's on the op stack. And you notice all these companies are building on the op stack. So do you think hundreds and hundreds of big companies building on optimism, that should be like a sign? That should be like a fucking flashing red light, like ding, 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 like pay attention. So I think transaction fees are going to just almost be nothing, like dust, just dust. Anyway, something to think about. Bankers are mostly corrupt, but the one thing people don't like is someone that they believe got an unjust reward. It's like the guy that wins the lottery giving financial advice. You're like, shut up. You don't know shit. You bought a lottery ticket. People that cheat and break the rules and win, you're not doing business with those guys because they didn't actually do business. And never apologize to bankers. Bankers, they know what they're made of. Not all bankers are dirty and corrupt. Most bankers are too stupid to be corrupt. I don't mean stupid. I mean of moderate intelligence. Banking is a sales job. Anybody here that's in banking, and you know it. Banking, investment banking, it's all a sales job. Goldman Sachs, you're not an investor. You're not moving money. It's a sales job. All this stuff is sales job. So, keep these things in mind. I think put things in perspective. You got to sit back and put yourself I try to put myself in the chair of other businesses. God, did you see in France, they floated the idea of a tax on when you haven't even sold an asset, but you have a gain, right? So if you have a gain, so let's say you're up 50% on your Bitcoin and you haven't sold any Bitcoin, the French government still wants to tax you. I think it's up to 35%. Let me see what this dumpster fire is. It's absolute chaos. I don't think it'll pass, but the fact that they would even float this shit is mind-boggling. Now, oddly enough, there's no transaction to transaction costs. Like they don't. You can move between assets, so you could trade. There's no taxes there unless there's tax liability. But you have to have every single transaction you ever do. They all have to be tracked. Every single one of them. Like in real, like all, it's madness. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Oh, it was just here. There was 2 or 3 articles about the French. Oh, the French. Makes you want to go live in France. Didn't Ellen DeGeneres go? No, she moved to England, right? Let's see. Oh, wow. I can't find it. Oh, wait. No. I'm going to get it. France. Yeah, France introduces taxes on unrealized Bitcoin capital gains, Bitcoin specifically. France wants to tax Bitcoin as unproductive wealth, treating it like luxury assets such as yachts and jets. There was also an unproductive asset tax that was being floated here in California, and it was for people that have rental properties. They're like, well, that's an unproductive asset. You're like, yeah, but people live there. Yeah, but you're not doing anything to earn that money. What do you mean? I earned money. I bought a rental property. People pay me rent. No, that's unproductive. What the? Anyway, this is part of that same kind of woke ass. Let's give everybody everything. No one has to work for anything. Bullshit. Any crypto profit. This is in France. Any crypto profit over 305 euro is taxable in France with a flat tax rate of 30% or a reduced rate of 28.2% for low-income earners. But then again, if you made money on crypto, you probably wouldn't be in the low-income earner place. Low income, 28%. They tax you a third of your shit in your low income. How do you even eat? How does anybody, man, when I lived in France, they weren't pulling this shit back then. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they were. I was in the military in France, and I was getting paid in euro, but I never really paid attention to my taxes. Anyway, crypto to crypto trades. Crypto to crypto is tax free, but selling Bitcoin for euro or buying goods with it is taxable. It's kind of like the French don't want people holding Bitcoin. This is kind of a weird anti-Bitcoin thing. The French have taken the wrong side of a lot of ideas, I think. A lot. So it's called unproductive wealth tax, a category that includes assets like private yachts, private jets, luxury cars, and now Bitcoin. Unproductive. So can you imagine being at the line where your car goes from being a regular car to a luxury car, and now it's unproductive, and now you have some stupid ass tax? Why don't they tax that stuff on the front end? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, whatever. Good luck, France. to who I would say have fun being poor. Anyway, okay, we're gonna talk about game theory today, but I'm gonna go through and we're gonna knock out some more questions, and we're gonna look at markets. Can I explain how XRP used to work? I mean, it just used to be cheap. So what I mean by it is, it was one of the first. XRP and XLM were really cheap if you had to move money between exchanges. Anybody that was around in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, moving Bitcoin around used to be really expensive. Sometimes it would be very slow. I remember times in 2017, especially after the block wars. So this would be after August 2017. It was, you could sometimes wait from 3 or 4 hours to a couple of days for a Bitcoin transaction to process, which was like shit. And it was kind of expensive. And so you would have to sell your stuff into XRP or sell your stuff into XLM, which that was a little weird because those markets weren't super liquid. So you lose a little bit there, but then you could transfer that really fast. And the whole idea, what Ripple wanted to do is say, hey, listen, I mean, here's where Ripple blew it. Ripple had an opportunity to create a big giant repo pool, Ripple repo, XRP repo pool, to create tons of liquidity that you could source, and they could give people access to go in and out of currencies and do all this. They just decided that wasn't the way they wanted to go. We're going to rebuild. We're going to fight the system. But you're not fixing a problem that anyone feels is a legitimate problem. That was the thing. And so they said, we're going to focus on exotic corridors where it's really hard to get money in and out, which is cool. That's noble. But they tested with MoneyGram. They tested with all these companies. And every time these companies tested with them, they would end the tests and they would say, we're not interested. You're like, wait a minute. If it's supposed to save you all this money and make life easier, what do you mean you're not interested? Your board would make you use something that was cheaper and better, more effective. Not interested, not interested, not interested. And this wasn't Choke Point 2.0 or Choke Point whatever. This was just companies testing XRP and the XRP ledger and deciding it was clunky and stupid and it didn't save them money. And that's the only reason Ripple exists, other than to sell tokens illegally and profit from it. So I don't know. I mean, if the only thing you do isn't good enough for MoneyGram, fucking what do you do? So XRP as an asset, remember, so separate that from the company, but XRP as an asset was nice because it was cheap, as was Lumen's XLM. It was really cheap and you could move money around. The problem is you had to make all those jumps back and forth. So on some exchanges you could, on some exchanges you couldn't. But anyway, that's it. That's why XRP was great. Now XRP, you can still use it for that, but it's much more expensive than just using Base or Optimism. Or Polygon, or ... or Sui, or Sei, or Solana. And I don't even like Solana, but because everybody went, it's all about transactions per second, TPS. That was the vanity metric. And so just wasn't anything that XRP just doesn't do anything. Yeah, that's the problem. Kiro's kind of got it. It's not that XRP's not bad, but it's just not necessary. Just not necessary. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. All right. French farmers hate the government. Yeah, I know. God. So you know what's funny? When I lived in France, my buddy and I were just going to get food, and you would just hear some noise. You would like turn a corner, and there'd be like a whole thing, like people are like, oh, and they're picketing and all this, and then you turn another corner, and it was empty. I was like, what's going on? He's like, oh, those are the bus drivers. They're striking today. I was like, oh, all right. And we would go 3 or 4 more blocks and then turn left, and there's a bunch of other people. What's that? Oh, those are the teachers. They're striking today. I was like, oh, they don't want to get together with the bus drivers? Like, no, they don't like each other. Fights would break out. Like, oh, wow. Anyway, them French. So there you go. You know what? Trump is the GOAT. God. So there you go. Can you say recess? That's funny. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on there. Let's look at markets. Saw some interesting stuff going on. So let's take a look at markets, see what's going on there, and then we're going to jump into our discussion. And we have today's going to be a fun one. Today is, I didn't tell you guys. Finally, to finish out that thought, that was dollar cost averaging. My rule for exiting, and your rule can be different, but my rule for exiting assets during a bull market, well, during any market, 10x take 20, 2x take 10. So this is on investments. If you believe something is an investment, meaning you're willing to hold it for a year or more, and you've done the 5 T's. You said, I've looked at the team, I've looked at the timing of the project, I've looked at the tokenomic structure. I've looked at the technology, and I asked myself, why does this token exist? And I can answer all of those satisfactorily. Then it could be an investment. And if it's an investment, my rule is if I get a 10x on something, I take 20% off the table. So when the asset reaches 1,000% increase in your DCA price, you immediately sell 20%. This, again, you do you. This is what I do. You immediately sell 20% of your total allocation of N. This ensures 100% return on investment. And because you pulled your original money back out and you got a double on that. Okay. Then 2x take 10. So moving forward, every time it doubles, and you say, well, how often would it double? Well, sometimes quite a bit. I know there's some people in the chat that have gotten 2 or 3 doubles on some of the assets like, AGIX when it ran, Fetch, some of those other stuffs. So the 2x take 10 rule, when an asset doubles in value from your last sale, you sell 10% of the total allocation. This ensures continual gradual 180% return on investment over and over and over. And it also ensures, because if you do this, you might ask, wait a minute, I'm never selling all of it. That's right. You're never selling all of it because you don't want to be Laszlo, the dude that sold 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas. You don't want to be that guy. This prevents you from a Laszlo moment. Now, it also might make your stomach hurt because you'll watch your portfolio go way up and come way down, and you'll go, what if I had sold? What if I had sold here? What if I had done this? What if I had done that? Even this, like, there's a funny story this morning. Like, one of the private clients and I, we've been trading in and out of Aptos, and I had a limit order higher than his limit order. He got filled. I didn't get a single token. I don't know. So it is what it is. These markets are weird. They're mostly illiquid, but things will go up and also down at breakneck speeds. I think now it's mostly up because of the what the next 4 years look like. So we're in a good spot, and especially after having endured a couple of years of just grinding pain, grinding, slow, quiet bear market pain. So you want to make the best of your portfolio. And your mentality, your psychology in a bull market has to be different. It's got to be that you're taking from this bull market to make your life materially better. That's something I didn't do in my first bull market. My first real run, 2014, 15, 16, 17 was my first real run where I was like, whoa. Now, of course, I had little assets that popped in there, but this was my big whoa. And I didn't really take anything off the table. I was like, I'm letting it ride. And so I went like, up, and then I got it. It probably got cut to a third of what it was. Well, let me think. Not a third, maybe a third. A third? Two. No, it got cut in half. I got cut in half. A 1 sigma event. Oh, then we had. Well, I did good in 2018 because I arbitrage traded a lot, but I kind of I was like grinding my way back. And then 2019 had some little pops. 2020, 2021 going into COVID time, big run, big stupid. Remember a dumb money run, a transfer payments run. And so on the transfer payments run, I did pretty good because I started taking money off the table. Now, I didn't stay where I was. I didn't stay at my highs, but I also didn't give up half like I did last time. I probably gave up 30% of the bull market. And so so I refined and refined and refined. And now I am, I feel like I'm taking profit in a way that is consistent. And that is that it is just a rules-based approach. By the way, on assets that I don't think are investments, like trade assets, projects that are probably going to go up, but I think they're probably crap projects or just like poor teams. For whatever reason, it's not really an investment. My rule is 3x, take 33. So if something does a triple, I take a third of it off the table. So that's getting my investment back out. And then it's 2x, take 10, 2x, take 10, 2x, take 10, just like that. So that's kind of how the rules change there. Yeah, no, it's a good thing that you held. Listen, dumb money is going to give a lot of people some great exits. But be careful that you don't buy into the legends that are being spun and told, right? So just take your profit, be wise. Cardano did not suddenly become a quality project. XRP did not become a quality project. Algorand definitely did not become a quality project. NewNet has never been a quality project. That's one. NoNet. A lot of assets are moving up. And yes, Mike, I would do the same thing with Bitcoin. If 10x take 20, 2x take 10. 10x take 20, 2x take 10. Otherwise, you don't ever materially change your life. Now, the way you do it, you might borrow your way out or something kind of clever like that. But yeah, you still got to take your exits. H-bar because so cheap. No. So we talked about this yesterday. There was a big article about this company analyzed. They did sentiment analysis using searches, Google searches and things like that. And it's pretty clear that people that are relatively new to the space or people that were dormant, they weren't in the space for the last 3 or 4 years, they're coming back now because crypto's going up and it's in the news. And they're looking at all the stuff that they look at the all-time high. Here, let's go look at markets. And this will make more sense in the context of looking at markets. Because then you'll go, oh, yeah. And you'll see that the price action is sentiment-based. All right, so let's go. We'll go with chill vibes. Yeah. All right, we're getting to our bull market strategy guide here in a bit, but Bitcoin, it went up, it went down, it went up, it's sideways, whatever. 1%, who cares? Pretty much a green sheet, but having a nice little quiet sell-off is a good thing. Ethereum hasn't really had its run yet. You see it's pretty muted. If you look at the 1 year, it's pretty muted. So then you look at the sentiment tokens. These are tokens where they've been left behind. They've done nothing. Remember, there's people that bought XRP at $3.92. How happy do you think they are? What about the people that bought at $3.50 or $3 or $2.90, $2.80, $2.70, or $2.60? How happy do you think they are? I think not so happy, senor. Not so happy. So, but people that are just coming back to the space trying to get them gains are trying to jump on whatever bandwagon. It's a slightly smarter than a meme coin trader. So does that make sense? Like instead of a 68 IQ, 69 IQ, maybe even 70. Not give them 70. Like enough that they can breathe at night without having to wake themselves up just through autonomous motor function, but not enough where they know that they're not dead at night, right? Like these are simple people. And hopefully some of them will become educated, but most of them will get punished. These are people FOMOing in based on sentiment. And here's how they do it. They look at the price now. They look at the price, the all-time high, and they're like, oh my God, Bitcoin's going to hit all-time highs. Therefore, these coins should all hit all-time highs. That is a really stupid logic. But if enough people believe the same myth, the myth becomes a reality, right? So a bunch of people can pump something. Then what happens is these bandwagon assholes get on Twitter, X, and then they pump it through a bunch of media bullshit, and that intensifies the FOMO. And because no one likes to get left behind, And that's what this is. This is a I don't want to get left behind story. Anyway, look at the tokens it's affecting. XRP. Oh, and also look at the sell-off. XRP selling off. Doge selling off. ADA selling off. Isn't that funny? Algorand is down about 10 cents from yesterday. It's still up, but it's way down from yesterday. Fetch down from yesterday, although Fetch isn't part of that because no one gives a fuck about Fetch. VeChain sustained, which was good, although it was much higher. Aptos is new, so it doesn't really count. It's not kind of part of those assets. Because remember, Aptos and Sui are on the Move blockchain. That's from the failed Diem stablecoin project. Very, very fast. Sui, by the way, you guys know Sui shut down the other day for a few hours. Whoops. Someone must have unplugged the laptop that's running it. Anyway, Filecoin was up near 770, 760. It's taken a hit. I think Filecoin's good for other reasons, but it's still one of those, back in 2017 or, back in 20. Remember, it's people chasing all-time highs and sentiment and FOMO and marginal stupidity, which is fine for the rest of us because it gives us all exits. But you have to be mindful of it. There were people yesterday like, okay, man, Cardano, man, at this rate, Cardano will be $1.50 tomorrow. I said, well, remember, it's not going up for any real reason other than people FOMOing into it. The minute that slows down, people are going to get clipped. And these are all people that have been in the crypto space for 14 seconds, mostly. So you're in this brand new space. You finally invest some money. You take your rent check. You parlay that bitch into the market, and it goes down 10%. And you fucking panic. And that's what a rookie investor does. And it's just, that's human psychology. That's untrained, the untrained human in investment markets. And it sucks and it's miserable. And we've all been there. So I'm not hating. I also had a 70 IQ or a 67 IQ when I got into this space. I thought it was all bullshit. Took me a while. Took me a minute. My brother was mining from 2009. I didn't get into crypto till 2014. It took me a minute. It took me a minute to get it. I was stupid. But, you educate yourself. All right. So anyway, so it's kind of obvious the assets that have started to sell back off. And then the assets that have held their ground. Again, this is a momentary blip, and probably all of these things keep going up for the greater part of December. And I don't see much stopping the quality assets. I don't see much stopping them. But also, when all this new money's coming in, it's not smart money. And so, again, think about GameStop and think about Hertz and think about Bed Bath & Beyond and all the stupid bullshit you saw in 2021. That same stupid bullshit is going to be right here in the crypto space, which will allow many of you to get some very fine exits. And some of you will lament, it kept going higher. Who gives a shit? So what? Like, you're never going to call the top. You're never going to nail the bottom. You're just going to be somewhere in the murk. But if you're making good quality game theoretical decisions on a regular basis, you're going to win more than you lose. That's all you're trying to do is just make more smart decisions than bad ones. But yeah, I mean, the markets are still predominantly greenish, right? NewNet is one that's a little bit suspicious to me. This looks like Mario and his band of dummies pumping this asset. I say that because NewNet has done nothing. They have no product. They have lots of hopes and dreams and fairy dust. But just like Fetch and SingularityNet and all those other things, there's no product. There's no thing. They don't sell anything. They don't do anything. They claim to, they want to, they would love to, but they don't do anything. None. Not Sophia, not Cogito, not NewNet, not Fetch. None. The closest thing they had was Ocean Protocol, which had a data marketplace that was mostly unused. So when you see something going up like that, it's usually, perversion, because NewNet is not a beloved sentiment-based asset that years ago people believed in, and now they're coming back for that second bite at the FOMO apple. Bullshit. So this has scammy pump written all over it, and I say, take advantage of it. If they want to scammily pump, Take it as a gift, man. Take it as don't think of it as them guys pulling shenanigans. Take it as Mario and those douchebags throwing you a Christmas bone. Take the win. Spike the ball. Do a victory lap. I know I am. All right. So there's that. So that's kind of where my head's at. There are some quality assets in there. The market is still doing quite good. Look, it's just shy of 3.5 trillion. And Bitcoin's been quiet. I think Bitcoin probably breaks out here pretty soon. I think Ethereum breaks out pretty soon, and these assets will go with it. I saw a really interesting thing. A Rect Capital showed the chain of events. Like people go from, so there's fiat above Bitcoin, right? People might go from Bitcoin back to fiat, and then beneath it, beneath Bitcoin, there's like altcoins, and then people go from Bitcoin, they spread their money into like Ethereum and other like kind of Ethereum, and then altcoins. So it would be like fiat, Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, and then you could even put some spammy bullshit that's way out on the curve. But then at the very bottom, when people make money on the spammy bullshit, where do they go? Back to Bitcoin. So it's like Bitcoin tends to hoover up winnings. Bitcoin has become a kind of stable coin, in a sense, the store of value asset in the crypto space. And it might become the store of value asset on the planet. Because again, if enough players want to panic into it, that's going to hoover up a lot of other people. And in that grand hoovering, there's not much to get in the way of Bitcoin. Not in the long run, not in the long term. So there's that. Okay, why don't we do this? If I don't have any other questions, why don't we talk about some game theory? Scary Gary. That sounds so good. Ricardo, that's good. Scary Gary. Scary Gary. No, I don't think Scary Gary bought any XRP. Matter of fact, there was another article that I was reading that said that most of the investment in its XRP and ADA, this is bad, is on leverage. There's a lot of leveraged purchasing of XRP and ADA. That's not a good sign. So those things, I hope they go up. I don't want anyone to lose money. Again, we can all make money. No one needs to lose for us to win. But investing is mostly amateurs by whatever means they can, being impatient and handing their money to veterans who are patient. The impatient wealth transferring to the patient. Patience is difficult. Patience pays off. Many commas. You know what you get when you're patient? You get many commas. So many commas. Do you get a third comma? Maybe. But you can definitely get 2 commas. You can get that 2 comma drama. Okay. Kraken has always had an OTC desk, Neil. Maybe they didn't publicize it. Oh, by the way, did you guys know that there is such a thing? So you guys know there's Coinbase Prime, right? You guys know that there's Coinbase Prime Advanced? Did you know that there's an advanced Coinbase Prime? Did you know that it pays a higher rate on USDC and it pays a higher staking rate on Ethereum, Matic, Solana? It pays higher staking rates. Isn't that crazy? Cray. Am I right? Anyway, cool. Okay, let's switch gears. Let's do some brain work. We'll do some brain work today. Let's go here. Let's see. Oh, that's so funny. It's always funny. I don't have any good pictures. Where do all my cool pictures go? Give me a second. Let me get a good background picture. Let's see. Images. What's a good one? Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. We want to talk game theory. Here, I'm going to put this guy here. I'll put this guy here. Put this guy here. I'll just do a little rearranging so we can get a nice little, safer loan. I think we were talking about bonds or something like that at this time. I like this. Is a good background. All right. Let's get us let's get our put your nerd caps on. We're gonna talk about game theory, cognitive bias, and how they apply in a bull market. Bull market, that's where we're at. Waited a long time to be in a bull market, and here we are.
Hello. You're late.
You're bad at math, but I'm giving you an A+ in confidence.
Just doing what I gotta do.
Extra credit.
Okay, so we are going to dive into a topic that combines economics, psychology, and strategy, which we always do. All of these are crucial elements for anybody that's interested in investing or trading, depending on where you kind of fall on that spectrum, especially during a bull market. So we're going to explore how understanding game theory fundamentals can enhance your decision-making and how there are certain cognitive biases that will directly work against you at the same time. So ideally, what you'll take out of this is you'll understand what's working against you and you'll understand the tools you have at your disposal. And if you kind of keep both of those in your mind, remember, game theory is your decision-making framework. Cognitive bias makes you deviate from good decision-making. We want to be mindful of our cognitive biases, but using game theory to dictate our decision-making. So first, let's understand what a bull market is. A bull market typically refers to any of the financial markets where prices are rising or expected to rise over some time period in a consistent manner. These periods are characterized by a lot of investor confidence, a lot of optimism, FOMO, positive expectations, positive news articles, all that, all the crap that you're getting just showered, all the noise that's showering you right now. However, bull markets are cyclical, not secular, cyclical, and they are difficult to predict, especially when they will end, right? And so it makes strategic decisions about when you're going to enter or exit trades become crucial so that you can capitalize on the upward trends and actually put currency units in your back pocket to pay off debt, to make other investments, to make your life materially better. Because if you don't do that, then you are wasting your time, unless this is just a cool game for you, in which case, good on you. Good on you, sir. So let's talk about the top 5 game theory fundamentals that every investor needs. I mean, you need to know this stuff. So we know that game theory is the study of strategic decision-making, where the outcome depends not only on your actions, but also the actions of the other players in the game, other investors. So here are 5 of the game theory concepts that are probably mostly relevant to investing during a bull market. One is understand Nash equilibrium. Nash equilibrium. And this is where no player can benefit by changing their strategy while the other players keep their strategies unchanged. Does that make sense? So basically, everybody's made their decision and no one benefits by making any other decision. We've found this equilibrium for everyone, the best outcome for everyone, given everyone else's decisions. So in investing, reaching a Nash equilibrium means finding a strategy where your investment decisions yield the best possible outcome given the decisions of all of the other market participants, dumb or otherwise. So if most investors are holding on to their Bitcoin, expecting prices to rise, it might not benefit you to sell, right? Like, look at the data. Holding might be the optimal strategy because selling won't yield a better outcome. So that's and a lot of data can fill in the gaps of where you think psychology is. You can only ever think it. You can't know it. None of this stuff's knowable. But you can think that psychology is in a certain place, and that's going to, give you maybe a partial advantage, right? So there you go. Okay. The second one is dominant strategies. A dominant strategy is a strategy that yields a better outcome for a player, no matter what any other player does. So this is where you're identifying investments that are likely to perform well regardless of market fluctuations. This is why we look for quality assets. This is why we do the 5 T's. This is why we want assets that can achieve use, utility, wide-scale adoption, and potentially trigger the hoarding effect, right? In investing in a diversified portfolio during a bull market can be a very dominant strategy because they tend to rise with the overall market. minimizing the risk associated with individual crypto assets or other investments too, stocks in general, right? Just you want to at least rise. You want to permeate up at the same rate as the market. You don't want the market kicks ass and you're like, well, I missed it. Dang it. Because I invested in these three things. Anyway, the third, information asymmetry and signaling. And these are situations where one entity has more or better information than another. In our case, it's education. If we have more education and more financial kind of blueprint information than others do, we will make better decisions because we understand how the machine works, right? We understand how all the gears in the watch work. That's why this hand does that. All right. So be aware that some investors might have access to information that you don't, and it might influence your investment decisions. This is just the reality. No one has perfect information ever, right? So if institutional investors, or like BlackRock, start buying a particular asset or leaning into it, like say, Bitcoin or like, Ethereum, it might signal that they have some information that you don't, or some influence that you don't. And, following their lead might make sense, right? I'm a contrarian. Okay, but there's times that you don't need to be a contrarian. Anyway, obviously the prisoner's dilemma, which is what everybody, when you're learning about game theory, this is the first thing that you learn about. And it's a scenario where individuals acting in their own self-interest can produce a worse outcome than if they had cooperated. However, acting in their own self-interest is actually the safest outcome for them because they can't know that there's guaranteed cooperation. So they make the best bad choice. In markets, panic selling leads to market crashes, which is worse for everyone. But the uneducated, they panic sell. You know what? Sometimes the educated panic sell too, because you don't know what's going on the other side of their balance sheet. So during a slight market dip, if people hold their positions, it might make the market quickly recover. However, if everyone starts selling and people have leverage and people start selling to avoid losses, it triggers a larger downturn, which liquidates more leverage and more dummies get unearthed. And then they're trying to play catch up. So they take on even more leverage and they get whacked. And you see how these things, and that's why illiquid markets are volatile as hell. You can also take advantage of that. The fifth one is the behavioral game theory. And this essentially it incorporates psychological insights into game theory, acknowledging that humans don't always act rationally. Mostly they act rationally, but not always. And so understanding that emotions can drive markets and that emotions push these trends, right? Like emotions move mountains, right? Feelings move mountains. Well, that helps you predict market movements because humans are mostly all the same. And so recognizing that fear or greed can cause overreactions in the market gives you opportunities to buy or buy back undervalued assets or sell overvalued ones, overvalued assets. It provides opportunity. When opportunity come a knocking, open the door, bro. Okay. So now let's talk about the cognitive biases that will work against us. While when you think of game theory, that's your thinking strategic framework. But our minds can play tricks on us based on our upbringing and kind of the way we were indoctrinated. And so cognitive biases tend to make you deviate from rational thinking, right? So they work against. And so these are the 5 that I think are the most important. And that's overconfidence bias, herd mentality, it's like the bandwagon effect, loss aversion, confirmation bias, and recency bias. And we all suffer from these things a little bit, right? So overestimating one's abilities or the accuracy of one's predictions, that is overconfidence bias. So you might take on a bunch of risk believing you're less likely to make mistakes. but you're taking on a bunch of, it's like people in a sports car that allows them to drive faster because this is safe. So they drive faster because it's safer. But then because they drive faster, it's no longer safer because the premium of safety they got in the safe car is gone when you increase the speed to the point where the premium has been eaten up. So again, you have overconfidence, so you take on excessive risk, and that's not wise. Okay. To mitigate this, question your assumptions and also consider seeking advice from other people that challenge your views. It doesn't matter. There's no wrong or right in someone's opinion. There just is. I mean, there's certainly wrong or right in people's facts, but people's opinions are their opinions. It might be based on flawed logic, but you're not going to fix someone's flawed logic. You're not going to out-logic someone and have them go, oh gosh, I've been thinking about that wrong for the last 26 years. Thanks, Roger. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, herd mentality. Let's talk about the bandwagon effect. This is the tendency to follow the crowd without independent analysis, right? Like one person runs by, you're like, where's that guy going? If 40 people run by, you're like, shit, we better be running, and you just go, right? So you might invest in overhyped assets that are overpriced, where the price doesn't necessarily reflect their value, and it could lead you to potential losses when the bubble bursts. So to mitigate this, do your own research and base decisions on some kind of fundamental analysis rather than market hype and fucking Twitter. If you're getting your marching orders from Twitter or TikTok, you're an idiot. Don't worry, you can un-idiot yourself, but if you're getting your investment advice from Twitter or Facebook or TikTok or any social media, stop, go look in the mirror, point at that person and say, you're an idiot, and hit the reset switch. All right, loss aversion. This is the tendency to prefer, you know how it is, like you prefer avoiding losses over acquiring equivalent gains. It's kind of like you play a game, winning gives you like a +1 in happy points. Losing gives you a -3 in happy points. So you'd rather, you want to win, but you just don't want to lose. And what happens is you might hold on to losing investments hoping that they'll rebound. Or you make arguments like, oh, well, this will probably rebound because, or you'll grab onto arguments that aren't really logical because it gives you some hope. Like, oh, the great reset, the great this, the great, no. So you also might sell winning investments too early to lock in gains. And that's a deviation from your kind of strategy. Does that make sense? So to mitigate this, set clear investment goals and exit strategies and stick to them regardless of short-term market movements, today, tomorrow, whatever. Quit staring at your flipping portfolio. Okay? All right. Confirmation bias. Obviously, right? Focusing on information that confirms your preconceptions while ignoring contradictory evidence that may be fact-based, right? What happens is you will ignore warning signs that an investment is risky because you're only looking for positive news. So you just start cherry picking the news that you want. We've all done this. Don't do it. And we will all continue to do this, and we shouldn't do it. But one way to mitigate this is to actively seek out information that challenges your beliefs so that you're making more balanced decisions. Go out and ask, okay, why don't I like this? Are there reasons that I should like this? Right? That could help. All right. And finally, recency bias. And this is giving more weight to recent events when evaluating future probabilities. Primacy versus recency, all those studies. Anyway, you might assume that the bull market will continue indefinitely because it's been rising recently. But if you look at long-term trends and historical data, you might gain a broader perspective and be more reasonable about this. That's why I said yesterday, it is important to think about what you want to get out of this bull market and what would make your life materially better. That's your goal, not fucking infinity currency units. That's stupid. Make the best decisions you have now to get to the goal that you want right now out of this bull market. If you're there, if you've hit all your goals right now, this second, take some money off the table. Like, actually make it a material gain. Make it real. Make it from unrealized fringe gains to actually realized in your portfolio. Debt is gone. A house is paid. Fucking car payments don't exist. You don't look at price tags anymore kind of gains, right? Like, you got to make your life materially better or you're wasting your time with all this. Like, what's the point? Again, unless this is a video game for you, in which case, cool. So make the best out of every bull market. So we talked the game theory. We talked about the cognitive biases. So let's do about just a few minutes of quick strategy. Okay, so one, have a strategic plan. That's what we're talking about right now. Use your game theory kind of base to anticipate the market over the next 12 to 18 months and plan your exits or your entrances accordingly. And consider all of the different scenarios and how it might play out, leading into the election, leading into tariffs, maybe think about all of these things over the next 12 months, how it's going to affect your portfolio, and create a kind of a plan. Stay informed. Continue to educate yourself. Reduce your information asymmetry by staying updated on market news, trends, analysis. The macro is important. You're like, oh, I don't care about China. You need to care about China. I don't care about Germany. You need to care about Germany. You need to care about all of it. So use reliable sources. Be cautious of misinformation, especially regular media. I mean, financial media is a little better, but it's also pretty sloppy. So you just got to be careful. Avoid emotional decision-making and emotional eating. Be aware of your cognitive biases and take steps to try to mitigate them. At least be aware when they happen, right? Make decisions based on data and analysis rather than your feelings, right? Like fear and greed and panic and FOMO and everybody's getting rich but me. Come on. Diversify your investments. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't have just, unless that basket is Bitcoin. In which case, I really can't say much. I even considered some futures where my basket was Bitcoin, but that's neither here nor there. Diversification can be a pretty dominant strategy that helps you mitigate risks and makes the most out of these bullish markets. Set clear goals and clear exits, right? Have a clear exit strategy. So know what you want to achieve and when you're going to exit an asset. And you can go out on the markets and you can put those orders in right now. A lot of the stuff that's close to some of my exits, I just put the order. I just hang the order out there as a limit order. Good till canceled. My name's been in. I ain't in it. And I just sit back, Cadillac that shit until it comes home. Stick to your plan even if the market is volatile. Don't change your swing. Don't change your swing. A semi-great man told me that. Don't change your swing. If you can, practice patience and self-discipline. You're like, oh, I do that all the time when I don't eat meth. Okay, well, maybe more so. Markets are unpredictable in the short term. TA doesn't actually work, regardless of the 4 idiots that change their story 6 times a day on Twitter. And one time in 7 months, they make a correct call and they go, see, told you so, bitch. You also told me 740 other things and none of them happened, you idiot. Anyway. Stay focused on your long-term objective. Stay focused on your ultimate exit, or at least what would make your life better. So try to understand that there's an interplay between strategic decision-making and human psychology. And if you want to be continually successful, especially during the weirdness of crypto ups and downs and bull markets and illiquidity and shit like that, you have to apply game theory fundamentals. Be mindful of your cognitive biases because they're always kind of looming and steering you away from good decisions. And you're going to end up making more positive decisions than negative. You're going to be ending up making more decisions that make your life better than that make your life worse. We make a lot of decisions. And if you're listening to your game theory and steering clear of your cognitive biases, you're going to make a lot of decisions marginally better than your peers, but because you make so many decisions in your life, you're going to melt above them in a kind of intellectual arbitrage, and you win. So it's very nice to win. It's very nice, and it's also kind of, let's say it's easy, but there's no other place where you can take, I mean, really think about it. There's no other place on earth where you can take your money and fairly reasonably, you can know in what direction it's going. So few people do any actual work or research or study in the crypto space. So few people have any clue about the macro that you can beat almost all of them over and over and over, all of them. There you go. So, good luck to everyone. Although, you don't need luck. Just roll your sleeves up, do some research, have some fun. Try not to overstress about if you sold too early or this and that. If you have programmed exits on your stuff, great. That's what they're for. Things always mean revert. You never really get left behind. Put your limits out there. Put your limit orders out there. Have a little fun. And every now and then, go buy yourself something like food-wise. Don't go buy a fucking car or something stupid. But go have a nice meal or something like that. It's okay to, like, when you hit little milestones, go celebrate a little bit. Like me, I had pizza last night. I had an all-time high. I had pizza. Woo-woo. Have a little fun. But don't do meth. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor insolvent drunk, strung out on meth grandmother or Brandon wouldn't do. The pools they exist now. The hypercycle pool, if you have a node factory, you're earning revenue right now. Welcome aboard. We will have more information on the gaming company token. I think the token is GMRT or GM. I'll get you more information on that, but that's coming soon. In the next 2 to 3 weeks, Libra is likely to launch. I know they're trying to get listed on a tier 1 exchange, so that's coming. A lot of cool things. And also there's supposed to be like a bunch of partnership announcements coming from Twin. So cool, man. Enjoy the ride.
Terrified, wandering mind, the seams have come undone. You've been telling lies to these eyes as if they'd never seen the sun. Now you've let your guard down and your heart is exposed. Now you've let your guard down, but how could you have known that I'm a big fish round here? You're a small fish. I could make you disappear. You should know this. I'm the big fish round here. You're a small fish. I could make you disappear. You should know this. I'm the big fish. To play, the rules were never clear. Smaller minds make easy prey when there's nothing